just to show that it is actually working. Fuel pump. Yes, so all this mess needs to be sorted. So, what we're doing today is editing the wiring loom. Now, it works as it is, just needs to be taped up, but I didn't tape it up because, well, I knew I'd have to add more parts. So what I've got is a blinker can, or flasher can, for the indicators. I've got the indicator stalk and headlight switch, so I've got to wire in all 10 of these wires. I've got another relay, that is to trigger the reverse light, and I also want to clear up and get rid of a couple of these earths and just tie them all in together, so I've got one lead to go on there. There's two leads go on the positive side. One is the fusible link for the ignition and the other one goes directly to the starter solenoid, so 2 was okay for that. It's just last time I went to fire the engine, well, I'd lost one of my earths and the whole thing didn't work, so I want to try and tie it all in together a bit better. But first thing I'm going to do, I think, is put the ignition barrel on the actual console. So I've got to make a little bracket, weld on there, then this whole piece can be painted. So let's get on with it then. Yep. That should just about do it. So that is now painted. Now the next thing is assembly. Now this has to go in. So before this goes in, I'm going to label these wires for what they do. So we've got a headlight switch, indicators, and high beam, low beam. So should be fairly simple. We'll get this all going together. Time to assemble, well, this piece. So anyway, this little surprise has been planned since the start. But full dashboard. Who'd have thunk?
Invincible.
Alright then, as you can see, it works. Now, a problem I'm facing is that since putting the indicators in and moving this up a little bit, it changed the wiring, so all the wiring is now coming out the bottom and under the column, which will just look a lot nicer. The problem with that is that all the plugs are now right here at the bottom of the column. So I'm going to have to extend about 30 wires to bring them back into the console where they were originally meant to go. So to do that, I've got more trailer wire. It's because it was the cheapest way to buy the right diameter of cabling. So I'm just going to strip that, cut it into 300mm pieces, and just extend all these wires. I'll probably just cut these plugs off and extend the wires and put the same plugs on the ends because they're already all pinned up. Now, the few that I won't be doing that with are things like the fuel, the temperature, the speed signal, all of those ones that are actual signal wires that have a variable voltage. I'm going to be crimping them together instead of soldering, because in my experience putting a solder joint in a wire will alter the resistance, so it won't be reading correctly. I don't think that the tack wire is reading correctly at the moment, but it looks cool, so you never know, it might actually be revving out to 11T. So what we have is, turn that on again. We got a neutral on this side. It will not start if it's in first gear. Won't start. We've got gear indicator on this side, so first, second, second. It goes through them all. Back to neutral. It goes to number 6 for reverse because, well, they don't have a signal for reverse in normal motorbikes. So back into neutral, and it will start. So there's a bit more wiring involved, but, well, I'm sick of filming wiring. And, well, the time lapses aren't really that interesting, so I'm just going to get it done and put it in the chassis so we can drive this thing. And it should be done. Well, that took 3 days, but what we have is a complete chassis loom, the complete dash loom, and the complete steering column. I had to extend about 30 wires in that. I've added lots of extra bits and pieces, done all the lighting. Yeah, it's an absolute mess. It's a crazy octopus. So it works, and, well, The only thing left now is to fit it to the actual Cubman. So what I think I'm going to do first is get the Cubman back on the table and install all this and a few other extra bits like this and one of these. Don't know if I showed you this, but I put a couple of extra studs on the back of the steering wheel so that I'll have self-cancelling indicators. But chassis time. All the wiring is in. It's nearly ready to run, but it took me 3 days of fiddling with this wiring loom to get it finished. And as I dropped the engine in, I remember there was one more sensor that I didn't get yet, so I think I'm going to call it there for this episode. I didn't record 90% of what I did because it was wiring. And this 10 pound of wiring in a 5 pound box, well, that's why I decided that I was going to make a cover that slips over and covers all this up, because yeah. So anyway, that's it for this episode, and well, as always, customize everything.